Welcome to the Business Spotlight podcast. My name is David Beeson. I am your host for today's conversation. My guest today is Milton Mattox, the CEO of United States Artificial Intelligence Institute. We're going to talk about his business, journey to business ownership, challenges, best practices, and share a peek of what it's really like to build and operate a business. Milton, welcome to the show and thank you for being here today. I would love
Uh,
for you to give us a little bit of background of who you are and tell us a little bit about your business as well.
sure, sure. Thank you for inviting me. It's always good, David, to get invited to these types of podcasts and all of that. I'm always very appreciative. So thank you for that. As you stated, I'm Milton Mattox. I'm the CEO of the United States Artificial Intelligence Institute. As you mentioned, we call it USAI for short. And our job is, or at least our mission, is to bridge the gap between the AI skills that employers are looking for and the AI skills that individuals bring to the table, right? And so we started the company back in February 2021. And we said, we're all practitioners. And, we were working for companies and we were hiring people. And we noticed that people were coming to their role and being very good at their role, but not leveraging technology to help increase productivity and efficiency and all of that. And that technology at the time we saw was a burgeoning AI. And so we said, why don't we, instead of bemoaning the situation, we said, why don't we start a company that focuses on helping people understand how to leverage tools, collaborate with these tools, in this case, artificial intelligence or AI, and then be the best that they can be in their role by, sometimes doubling, tripling, or quadrupling their productivity and efficiency. And so that's how we got started way back when. So I come to this as, I've been in the industry for over 35 years. Worked my way up from I started off as a hardware designer and tester, then moved into designing software and operating systems, and worked my way up the normal, ladder, if you will, and then focused on, being, a manager and leader and those sort of things. And I'll end with this as far as this piece is concerned, David. My expertise is cybersecurity. Specifically, as you look at cryptography, that's classical encryption and cryptography, and post-quantum cryptography. So when quantum computers become sufficiently fast, we have to look at a better way to secure our data and information. And that's what post-quantum cryptography would do for you. And then, of course, my focus is on artificial intelligence and not only teaching people how to actually leverage AI, but also how to implement it so that companies can get a quantifiable return on investment. So that's who we are in a nutshell.
Awesome, awesome. So generally speaking, what does your current ownership structure look like? Are you sole founder and owner, outside investors? I know we kind of talked beforehand, but just kind of for the audience.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Again, it was a group of us that founded the company. We set up a C Corp, and we distribute ownership based on equity and shares. So we based the ownership, split it amongst the founders, if you will, and employees as they're coming on board. Right, they also have a piece of it as well. So it's a traditional structure. We started off as an LLC, and more or less like a partnership within the LLC, and then we converted to a full-blown C Corp to get things started.
Awesome, awesome. Well, tell me a little bit about what role you currently play in the business. Like what's a day in the life of Milton?
Okay. So again, I'm the chief executive officer, and we look at a day for me is like, are we hitting our numbers as far as, marketing numbers and revenue generation and things like that? What are we seeing from the individuals that go through our certifications and training? Are they providing us feedback? And most of them are. What does that feedback look like? And are we taking that feedback to actually bring it back into the organization to continually improve on what we're doing. And so I do, a lot of, I start off with, just going through like most folks, right? Going through, my emails and getting my day set up. And before I jump into my calendar, then I start looking at the business aspects of it. Are we hitting our numbers? Are we keeping our customers satisfied? Those are key things that I'm looking at. Then I go through a part of the day where we're looking at the instructional design, the curriculum itself. In this case, the curricula, if you go across all of our certifications and taking a look at those things and making sure that we're staying up to date. And one might say, why would you do this every day? Because in AI is changing so rapidly that if you think that you can put out say, a certification or a curriculum design and think that it's going to stay the same for, 6 months to a year, then that would be missing a huge opportunity because AI is actually changing literally daily. So we're constantly looking at it. What should we add? Should we be talking about agentic AI? Should we be talking about something else? And then I have a part of the day where we look at, what are our investors looking at? And we have a very, tight, close knit of investors, but very small at this point. Most of our funding comes from those of us who founded the company, but we're also looking at, should we do a Series A round of funding to actually completely accelerate where we're going? So we're constantly looking at that. What does that industry look like? Are we hitting our numbers for what investors are generally interested in? And so I'm looking at those things as well. And then the last part of the day is I'm looking at the actual AI tools out there. I'm not, as the old commercial used to say, I'm not just the CEO, I'm actually a practitioner. And so I actually use AI and I use it quite heavily, right? And that is in my social media posts, the way that we set up our appointments, the way that we do customer services, the way we look at invoicing, all of these things we're using the tools in there so that what we're teaching is coming from a practicality perspective and not just, hey, we read this, this sounds good, and maybe you all should do this as well. No, we are actually very, very strong practitioners of the technology as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, so this is always kind of a fun question I like to ask. Many business owners, especially those newer to entrepreneurship, feel as though they never have enough time. I'm curious, based on your experience, if I were to give you an extra 10 hours back each week, how would you invest those hours? Would it be more time in the business, personal life, family time?
For me, it would be um, spending time on the personal side. I like to do things like write books. I like to do, podcasts. I like to do speaking engagements, and I love doing research. And I like participating in things like yesterday. I participated on. I was a committee member of an individual who's going through his doctoral PhD defense. And so I had to do that research beforehand, read his dissertation, all these things. So when I get back time, I use it to do those sort of things. And the more time that I get back, the more I would do towards writing and writing books and things like that. And so, but it doesn't have to be a sort of this, what if you're able to do it? We can get that time back by just leveraging AI to become much more productive. And then I do things today, like for example, if I create a social media post that's a video or something like that, it used to take me maybe 2 or 3 hours to do that, in an evening to put that together. Now I do it in about 20 minutes using AI. And that's including the script generation, the post-production on the video. And I even have an avatar that does a lot of my videos these days, which gets rid of the uhs and ahs and all of that, and the retakes and all of those things. Uh, the avatar takes care of all those things. So I get that free time by using AI and actually practice what I'm preaching here.
Yeah, yeah, no, makes sense. Yeah, I I do a lot of writing as well. I'm kind of more in like the film side of things. I went to film school and I do a lot of writing and things like that as well. And yeah, writing it just clears the brain. I don't know if that's how you see it too. You can really clear your head whenever you do a lot of writing.
Yeah, yeah, it's I agree with you completely, right? It's something that's, very, I'm gonna say, ephemeral when it comes to, and I mean long term, when you get to doing this, in that when I'm writing. Right, I can get knowledge out very quickly in these short bursts, and so it's what I mean by the ephemerality part of it, and then I can get it out there, and it makes me feel connected to society in general, right? In that I'm getting knowledge out there, or at least my ideas. I don't know if I'm adding knowledge, but I get it out there, and then I feel really good about it, and it helps me really be much more self-reflective than I thought I would ever be, right? And so now I think, your type of writing takes a lot more creativity than my non-fictional,
Yeah.
business writing type thing. And so I consider your writing, depending on the types of film that you're making, to include a lot more creativity. And so I can see how that can also be very, very rewarding as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of like drama and like thrillers. That's mostly what I write. And, you know, there's nothing for me, there's no better feeling than like finishing a script and then getting to go into production on a project. And then after everything's done, you get to see the culmination of like 2 years of work put into like one thing. It's one of the coolest feelings in the world.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you completely. When I generally order, I finish a book and I order, you go through all of the production piece of the book, right? And then
Yeah.
I order a proof. And when that proof comes, it's nothing like that, right? Because you get to see it, you get to touch it, and you read through it yourself and you flip through it. And then everything is okay. The publisher gets the green light to go off and start, selling the book, and then there you are. That's an amazing feeling. So I can totally relate to what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't don't think about like they're like, "Oh, you wrote it and you're done." And they don't think about all the hard work that goes into like, proofreading something and how many times you got to go back and you got to change a spelling mistake or you missed a comma here or you don't have your colon there that you need. It's like those
Yeah.
little details really, really matter whenever you're writing, whether it be a book, a script, whatever you're writing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're so spot on, right? I tend to write. I have this tendency, which is not a good tendency, to write in passive voice. Then I have to work hard. I have to
Yeah.
do something to get rid of that, right? And then, checking for the normal stuff, dangling participles and all of this sort of thing. All of those things are still there. Thankfully, they're great editors to help out with these things. And I actually now I write my material and I go through and I do everything that I normally do. I then now use AI to go and check it for those things. Am I, keeping the thread of the conversation going? Am I transitioning from paragraph to paragraph, chapter to chapter, the way it should be, done? Do I lose things in the context of the whole book vis-a-vis my outline? I use it to actually double check those things for me now. But it's after the fact. I like to just write, right. And then the hard work comes in, and all the stuff that you've been talking about, that hard work comes in. And then once you get that part done, then I bring in AI and say, hey, does this thing hang together? Is this tone and style right for my audience? This is my audience that I'm going after. What do you think? And it comes back, and I run it across several models, not just one, right? So if I would do
Yeah.
ChatGPT, the Claude, the Gemini, because they're all trained on different models. And AI still has a tendency to hallucinate. So you kind of want to, double check it as you're doing it. But I totally, agree with you. It's a lot of hard work, whether you're, like me using AI to do some of the checking of my, the initial editing, I still send it to humans. because that part is still important. But man, is it much cleaner when I send it to them because it finds those things that I just don't see. I'm focused on the content, the story, right?
Yeah.
And it catches all the other things that I'm certainly not an expert in.
Yeah, I do the same thing a lot with my scripts. I very much don't want to use AI in a creative sense because I feel like creativity comes a lot from human experience. But I think that still applying AI to help you and be able to save time is very important. So a lot of times if I write a script, I don't have it write me the script, but I will put it in there and be like, "Hey, what are some ideas? What do you think about this? How did you whenever you read this, what kind of feelings are you getting? Like, where did I make mistakes grammar wise?" And I'll kind of throw them kind of same thing. I normally do ChatGPT and Claude, and I'll kind of throw them in both of them and kind of see what it says for me. See if it, you know, like charges any different ideas that I could put into the script that I'm writing.
Yeah, yeah. I would say for those listening, take what you just said and play it again and again and again, right? Because that to me is how you use AI, right?
Yeah,
I don't go to it and say, oh, geez, I'm gonna write a book on, how to implement AI in a doctor's practice. Write that book, right? That to me, there's no creativity there. It's not me involved in that, right? I still do my research. I actually go out and work with these companies. You use your lived experience and all of these things. You bring all of that to the table, and then you go and after you have all of that, then you use AI, right, to say, to do exactly what you just stated, right? To me, if you start off with AI and let it do, the story, unless you're just brainstorming, right? I don't want to, discount the power AI has for brainstorming. But the power is still in the human doing what the human does best, and that's bringing in these different ideas. AI is a collective of algorithms, and it does pattern matching extremely well. No matter what it sounds like, it's not thinking at least not the way that we think,
yeah,
right? And if you use it enough, you will know that immediately, right? And so that's why it's so important that we do exactly what you're stating, right? We still have to be deeply, deeply involved in it, and then let AI assist us on some of those things that are a little bit more mundane. For me, it's like, am I writing in passive voice? It's just so,
yeah.
and that sort of thing. It can, point that out, and then I go and rewrite it, and then, have it do the check again. So those are the ways that I think it works at its best.
Yeah. Well, so kind of bringing it back to like the business model as a whole. So what makes your business unique? Like how do you communicate what makes your business stand out against maybe some of your competitors?
Yeah, yeah, sure, absolutely. Again, the biggest thing right now is that if you look at, competing companies that do AI certifications, or universities or other educational institutions, right? They tend to focus on either the large language model, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or some platform, Google, Microsoft, or something like that. We are model agnostic and we are platform agnostic. It doesn't matter to us which model you use. We teach individuals the fundamentals of AI and then how to level up with it, no matter what model you're using, no matter what platform you're on. So for us, if you go through one of our certifications and then, and this happened at the beginning of this year in 2025, we had individuals going through our certification, say in January, and then on January 20th, we had a new model come out from China called DeepSeek, and that just changed the way, it was a big impact to the market, right? We were able to update our curriculum in flight, in real time to help the people going through our program understand what is DeepSeek, what makes it different, and then is it going to be the impact, at least from our perspective, that you were hearing in the news. And so by the time people graduated or finished up our certification, they already knew what it was. They could talk about it and they could, literally make some educated type of comments about it. And most of our students, said that, DeepSeek showed a different way of doing things. This is why they could do it less expensive than some of the others. They were using AI, by the way, in order to do things. If you're OpenAI and Claude and everybody else, you actually had to do your own training. You had to do so those things are going to be
Yeah.
millions of dollars. And then at the back end, where they go through and actually enter the prompt, they take a sample of what you're doing, and instead of going out and querying the entire model, they look at specialties and they only do a particular portion of it. And because of that, they use less CPUs and things like that. And if they got the sample size correct, they can be very accurate, right? And so, and that's fine. They showed how they could do that. Our students could talk about it literally on the fly. So we like to say that we move at the speed of AI, not at the speed of quarters and semesters and things like that. You will be behind if you're thinking that AI is so static that 3 months from now, 6 months from now, what you learned 3 months ago, 6 months ago, is still as valid as it is today, because it's not. That's what makes us different. You can always come back. You can continue learning. You can continue going through modules and continue staying up to date, because this is where we are right now. This is not a one and done type of thing, which is traditionally, I got my bachelor's years ago. I got my master's years ago. I got my doctorate years ago, right? Yeah, I continue to read, I continue to write, I continue to research. But we make sure that we're staying up to speed and we're staying, relevant to what AI is doing today and
Yeah.
how you can leverage that. That's the biggest advantage that we do today. If others can do the same thing, but we're doing it now, and we're saying, they could catch up when, if they feel like it's important to do so.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of switch over a little bit into like marketing. So how do you guys market your business? What successful marketing campaigns do y'all use? I do a lot of marketing myself. Like I said earlier, I got a film degree, but I also got a marketing degree, so I kind of merged the two together. I do a lot of digital marketing and advertising for companies. So I am curious what kind of marketing strategies y'all are using and what seems to have been successful for you guys so far.
Most of it is digital marketing on the various social media platform. Our most the one that does the best for us right now is LinkedIn, and we market there. When I say we market there, we do it through boosting posts and things like that. But we post a lot, right? We still do Google Ads and things like that. That's actually very good for us. We do other social media platforms, whether it's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. We do all of those as well. But right now is the digital marketing and everything that's involved in that, right? And so including doing podcasts and things like that and getting your backlinks to your, when these things go out and, no matter where they show up, if they show up on YouTube or they get posted or a combination thereof, all of those things go back to the website to drive traffic to the website. And then once we drive traffic to the website, then people can look at the opportunities and things that we're offering them from a B2C perspective.
Hmm.
B, we actually go out and do more your traditional type of marketing. Yeah, we still do digital marketing to find those businesses, but we also go out and we target market segments, right? Let's say fintech or healthcare or things like that, or education for universities and colleges and high schools and other educational institutions. We target them, and then we, generate what we call quasi warm leads, and then we start going out and reaching out to them with our team to try to close a sale. Right. So the B2B sales cycle is a much longer sales cycle. B2C is a
Yeah.
short sales cycle. And the goal there is straightforward. Drive as much traffic to our website as possible, and then convert as most or as many of those people come to the website to actually buying the certification. And we look at, and if you think about that, right, if you got, 100,000, 200,000, a million people visiting your website and you're getting a certain percentage of them to actually convert, we then want to understand, why aren't they converting
Yeah.
and this sort of thing. So it's your normal things, but that's the things that we focus on. And we lean heavily into AI and helping us understand this data and to make sense of the data.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys use a lot of different marketing strategies, kind of depending on kind of like who y'all are specifically trying to go after. I'm curious, like in total, you can kind of ballpark it, but what percentage of your monthly sales is normally put back into your marketing budget? Because it sounds like y'all do a lot of marketing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say that, let me start off from the one level, right? Out of the revenue that we generate, our margin right now is about 38 to 40%, right? And we're going to get that to um, 60 to 70% within the next 6 months, right? Now, of that margin that we're getting back, we take, I'm going to say maybe 30, sometimes even 40%, and funnel that back into the marketing side, right? There's still, regular expenses with the large, with our learning management system and all the people that we have that are generating all this content and all this stuff. But a good portion of the 30 to 40% is going back into marketing right now.
Yeah.
And so we don't, as the leadership team, we don't do at the moment, we don't do bonuses and this sort of thing, exorbitant, salaries and that. We like to take the revenues that we're generating, the profits from those revenues, and then feed that back into the company and just keep going.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I think we'll transition to a couple rapid fire questions if you're ready.
Sure, sure, absolutely.
What is the key to success for you?
Focus, right? You absolutely want to focus and understand, right? Because we can get distracted, especially today. Right? There's a lot of noise out there. And so there's a saying, right? Being able to separate the signal from the noise, I think is crucial, right? And it's not only, true today in the age of AI and hopefully soon quantum. It's been true for a very, very long time. But focus on what it is that you're trying to achieve, aligning the team with those missions and the vision, right? The mission is what we do today and what we target is, and that's for us is bridging the gap between, again, the AI skills that companies are looking for and the skills that people bring to the table. That's a mission. But our vision is to actually have a huge impact and to certify, 150,000 to 300,000 people over the next couple of years so that they're helping companies get measurable return on investment, right? But to do that, we have to focus. Right? I could, well, again, I've been producing products my whole career, and I can lose sight and say, why don't we produce some apps? Right. I would love to build some apps, some AI apps, right? But that'll take us away and start to dilute our focus. So I say that focus and separate the signal from the noise, right?
Yeah.
And so that would be the top things. And one more thing, if you don't mind if I jump in, yeah, or throw this in, is right. Most of us at USAI on the founder side, we are practitioners and technical people. You have to understand the business, right?
Yeah.
You absolutely have to understand the business. Why is marketing important? What is sales important? Why is operations important? Do we have inefficiencies in these things? What's driving costs? What are the hidden things that are driving costs? Are we achieving our sales goals, day in and day out? These things are very important, right? It's easy to get lost in the sauce and focus on the tech, right?
Yeah.
But we have to focus on the business as well. And so again, focus and make sure you understand the business and what you're doing.
Yeah, no, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I agree. What is a book or podcast you're currently reading or listening to right now? I know you said you write a lot, but I assume you read a lot too.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. I read old books, and here's one that I'm reading now. I just have it up here. As a man thinketh, and I know it says as a man today would be more politically correct. Say as a person thinketh. I am into heavily, positive affirmations and things like that. So a book that I just finished, and I probably I've read this thing probably, 10 to 15 times now, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's an old book, but it has a really, I really do believe, David, that what we think sort of man it has a way of manifesting itself out there. And if I'm always thinking negative thoughts, oh my goodness, we're not going to hit our numbers, or we're not going to do this. It's funny how, the universe sort of has a way of helping you achieve the thing that you're focusing on when you're thinking, right?
Yeah.
So I like to really control those things, right? I read my technical books. I do all of those things. I read the latest stuff on, AI and all of that, but those are more about papers, white papers, research papers, and what people are doing. But when it comes to what I'm reading, as a man thinketh, Think and Grow Rich, all of those types of those books right now, I keep going back to because it helps me stay grounded, and help me stay in touch with my human side.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. So, this is kind of a fun question I always like to ask. If you had a little bit of magic dust and you could choose one spot and to sprinkle it on your business and everything would be perfect, where would it be and why?
So, right now that would be on. I think we're the one of the world's best kept secrets out there. Although we're working hard not to be a secret. I would take that, let's say pixie dust, and sprinkle it on the marketing side, and help us do even better at getting the word out. When we meet with people, they're like in companies, organizations, they go, wow, this is great. I mean, not always, but let's say predominantly that's what we hear. And it goes, I wish I had known about you folks before, or let's start using you now, or these sort of things. If we could, if we could do some magic and really get the word out and do better at it, that's what I would do with
Yeah.
that, right? So it all comes down for me at this particular point in time. The marketing, we have to deliver on all of these things. I think we are decent at delivering, if not, very good at it. But the marketing, if our marketing was, we had more, and I think that we are a global brand today, but if we had more investment in this space, I think we would quadruple where we are by, say, June 2026. Right. By the way, that is an actual internal goal, but nonetheless, I think that we could quadruple what we're doing, because we would get the word out more in a much more efficient and effective way.
Yeah. Well, before we get to the final question of the day, kind of talking about, you know, marketing and getting more people and stuff, would you like to share with the audience how they can follow you, learn more, contact you guys?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. So you can find us on at USAII.org, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. We put all of our curricula out there and things like that. And so you can follow me personally if that's of interest. I'm on LinkedIn. Just search for Milton Mattox, Mattox. You can find me on LinkedIn. And you can also find me on my own website, which is miltonmattox.com, MILTONMATTOX.com. And I go through a lot of what I do, what I'm focused on, and things like that. But if you're looking at becoming certified or getting training, either for yourself or for your organization or both, USAII.org is definitely a good place to start.
Awesome. Well, we've come to the final question of the day, and that is what is most inspiring to you today?
That's a very interesting question, and it might be a little different than I think most people, might be thinking at the moment. Uh, I am absolutely amazed at where we are. I'm going to say technologically. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that can distract us, and we talked about some of that early on. Separating the signal from the noise. But if we just take a moment and take just a breath and look at what human society, not just the United States, I'm talking globally, what we are able to achieve is absolutely amazing. I mean, look at AI and what it's able to do. And this is just, generative AI right now. We have not gotten to artificial, generative AI or AGI or super AI. We haven't gotten to any of those things. But look at what we are accomplishing right now and the types of things that we are doing. And that's absolutely amazing. It's phenomenal, right? And for those who are interested, look at the burgeoning quantum computer field, right? All of our computers today, the computers that we're using to hold this podcast, to have this conversation, if you break it down to its essence, it runs on zeros and ones, zeros and ones. It's very discrete technology, which is amazing what we can do with computers today. A quantum computers, if you look at a bit, it's not just a zero and a one. It is a zero and one and something called a superposition, and it's everything in between, right? If you have, and you call that a quantum bit, if you have hundreds of those, thousands of those, or millions of those, and you got this everything in between, just imagine what we're going to be able to do, the things that we can apply this to solving diseases and things that we've had forever around here. This is not science fiction. It's not Star Trek or Star Wars or any of those things like this. This is reality today, right? We get distracted by all the other things that are going on because it's human nature, and that's okay, but take some solace in what we as a society, global society, are achieving. And it's amazing. Is it scary? Yeah, there's going to be people going to try to use these things for harm. It always is, right? But I like to think about it positively. And I'm so stoked, if I may use that term, on what our capabilities are and what the future holds because this technology is amazing. We're going to have to work together, though, Dave, in order for this to happen. It's not a one country against another country, right? We have to work together. That scares me a bit. But if we are able to solve that and work together, the sky's the limit, no pun intended, on what we're going to be able to achieve globally. And that I'm
Yeah.
extremely excited about.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. It's very exciting. It is also a little scary, but it is very exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, I just want to say thank you for taking time out of your day to be here and say thank you so much for sharing. Also, I just want to encourage all of you watching to save this show and come back and watch it again because Milton really did have some great insights for business. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so we get notifications every time a new conversation drops, just like this one. Thank you to everyone who joined us today, and a special thanks to you, Milton, for being with us. We really appreciate it.
And thank you. And thank you, everyone, as well.
I will see you all in the next episode.